Hey everyone, it's a day off! Well, not for us. But for these awesome characters, everyone's been assigned their teams and have been introduced to their respective Jonin leaders. But they get one day to organize themselves and prepare for what's to come. Let's have ourselves a glimpse at what each of the characters are doing in the time they have to themselves. Ino's okay with her team assignments, but she was raised to expect to be put with Choji and Shikamaru. Choji, however, is put out that he's been grouped with two people that he never really talked to, even in Academy. The logic is sound that at least two of the three would be teamed together, but that didn't even happen. As a result, the parents of Ino-Shika-Cho confront Minato on his choice. He tells them that he needs results more than he needs tradition. Choza points out that Minato is breaking a team up that's lasted for several generations. Apparently they're the 15th generation? Has the village even been around long enough for that? Inoichi remarks how successful the parents' own team was, that they're known the world over. Shikaku merely warns Minato of the potential unrest among many loyal families that he could be creating with this one decision. If they were in peace times, Minato would have no problem with assigning teams based on want. But with betrayals and spies hiding behind every corner, it's silly to assign the kids based on who they want to be with. Minato tells the three parents that if their kids truly want to prove their worth, then they should train hard to become Jonin, where they might earn more freedom. He cites Kakashi Hatake and Itachi Uchiha as other members of the village who achieved their Jonin status at a very young age. It shouldn't be an impossible thought that other children could advance so fast. Unlike in canon, there was never any age restriction placed on children receiving promotions so early on. This was strictly because of the ongoing war. He tells them that he has high hopes for Shikamaru. If the other two want to keep up, they need to put in that appropriate effort, instead of just complaining about their new teammates. The camera pans out of the Hokage's office as the four continue arguing and zooms over the entire village. In one corner near the forest's edge, we see a tiny figure kicking a log. Rock Lee is training with the same dummy log he's always used, worn down smooth. He sees himself as being as prepared as possible for what's to come. One day off will only give him more time to get stronger. Nearly slipping on the battered ground below him, Lee swipes his brow and looks out at the village for a moment. The camera follows where he looks and flips over several homes before settling in the backyard of the Inuzuka house. We see Kiba working with his sister and a litter of puppies. Though Akamaru himself is a puppy, these are even younger pups. I want us to see the softer side of Kiba, the animal-loving side of him. Even though he might be harsh with his friends and rivals, when he's at home surrounded by dogs, he relaxes completely and just lets them jump all over him. In this case, he's helping his sister administer medicine to the puppies, as well as identify which are strong candidates to be ninja dogs. I like the idea of dogs being raised for Kiba's family, as well as to become part of the dog conglomerate that Kakashi frequently summons. Just a little bit of lore that could reveal where some of them are from and how they're fostered. Kiba's family has the most elite dogs primed for combat, while Kakashi's summons are trackers primarily. And then the third set would be deemed as not qualified and given away to be household pets. We only ever really see where the toads are from, not any other summonable animal. I think this would be a humble origin point for at least some ninja dogs. In fact, in my recreation, the Inuzuka family is well known by the summonable dogs. Whenever Kakashi summons dogs in Kiba's presence, they recognize and respectfully greet him. The puppies take their medicine dutifully and Kiba laughs happily as they continue to jump all over him. He lies down and looks up as we see a slightly cloudy sky. The camera zooms out as the sky transitions into Neji's eye and we see him in Hyuga garb. Neji spends his day fulfilling duties for the house. Being the same age as Hinata, he serves as her retainer in an official capacity. As ninja they are equal, but as members of the same family he is to protect and serve her. He has never questioned this assignment for him, as the family has implied that he may also be promised to her to keep their bloodline strong. Yeah, I know. Cousin-cousin relations is icky to a lot of people, but noble families have done this for millennia in real life. It wouldn't be an unthinkable pairing for the Hyuga house. And I'm not saying it's even going to happen, it's just what Neji expects might happen. Now that his father heads the main branch, he also lost his own branch restrictions. So he faithfully dotes on Hinata and waits for the promise they have implied. However, Hinata is also still somewhat of a disappointment to Neji's father. Like in canon, she doesn't seem to display a Byakugan as strong as Neji or even her younger sister. Neji's father hasn't given up all hope yet and continues to give her personal training sessions. The camera looks down from the ceiling at Hinata sparring with Neji's father, and both of them transform into shogi pieces. We see Shikamaru sitting across from Sasuke teaching him how to play. Shikamaru hasn't really spoken to Sasuke much, but tells him how they can learn so much about each other just from playing a simple strategy game, while also learning strategies for the field. Sasuke is open to the lesson, also wanting to start out with a good team. He generally has disagreements with his clanmates and would rather spend the day out of the house anyway. Shikamaru concerns Sasuke because he seems very laid back and lazy, and Sasuke intends to reach for the stars. Nonetheless, their few shogi matches prove to Sasuke just how intuitive Shikamaru is. Even if he is lazy and relaxed, he might still be able to pull his weight in the thick of a tense mission. Regardless, Sasuke remains concerned for how Shikamaru might hold up once a real fight begins. Sasuke is used to training physically on his off time, but realizes the countless benefits of training his mind as well. As he waits in silence for Shikamaru to reset the board, he wonders how quickly they'll see bloodshed out in the field. His memory flits to images of the worst night of his life, and he winces. The Sharingan almost died that night. Kakashi sits beside Guy and across from Asuma and Kurenai as the four have lunch together and discuss the potential of the respectful Genin. Guy boasts nothing but excitement at what his kids are going to be doing with him. He already knows Rock Lee, which makes their teaming even more meaningful. And Kiba is nothing but energy taken the form of moldable clay. Ino seems let down that she was assigned to him, and he asks the others if the other parts of that generational team express the same. Kurenai agrees. Choji was also disappointed. But she also thinks that Shino and Sakura can set aside their differences and build Choji up all the same. Shino is a very patient one, after all. Kakashi agrees. Shikamaru wasn't shy about the surprise of being separated from his two childhood friends, not to mention having to deal with a Hyuga and an Uchiha who look at each other as if they're going to attack at the drop of a hat. Asuma tells them they shouldn't complain, considering he has the Nine Tails on his team, not to mention the heir of the Hyuga family. There's so much pressure from their respective parents to build this perfect team. On the flip side though, he has one student who has so much potential he can't wait to train her. While wondering where the potential will grow, Asuma unconsciously pulls out a shuriken and thoughtfully stares at it. Tenten is reviewing inventory of her many weapons. Unlike the other genin, she uses so many weapons normally that she has to store several in scrolls. Like everyone else, she uses kunai and shuriken very regularly. She also has food pills that she always keeps for emergencies. Wire and 2 Demon Wind Shuriken are also in her arsenal of scrolls. Tenten makes sure to never bring weapons into combat if she doesn't know all their strengths and weaknesses. The Demon Wind Shuriken are her most recently mastered tools, and we see her motioning and recounting all the maneuvers one can perform with such a large tool. The camera pans from her room to her window and down to the street below. Sakura is making her way to Kurenai's home, invited to acquaint herself better with her new Jonin leader in a more relaxed setting. She's not wearing her headband or standard ninja outfit, but purely casual on this day. Sakura makes sure to make herself look good to show her sensei how refined she can be. She also stops at the flower shop to pick up a small arrangement as thanks to Kurenai for inviting her over. When she enters the shop, she strangely notices in the corner Shino staring at some flowers himself. Though she gingerly approaches to offer a kind hello, Shino silently continues staring at the flowers in front of him. Peeking over his shoulder, Sakura notices a bee, taking its time trying to find the best place to pull nectar from the flower. Sakura remarks that because the door's open, bugs get in all the time. Shino nods and remarks very quietly that it's beautiful, and Sakura smiles at his appreciation for nature. She thinks maybe bugs aren't as gross as she thought. We get a super zoom on the bee nestled on a daisy. As it lifts to fly away, we zoom out to see Naruto standing in a field of wildflowers opposite his dad. They aren't speaking, and Minato is waiting for Naruto to strike. Naruto throws a horizontal line of kunai and charges behind them. Minato deflects the kunai and suddenly Naruto is crashing into the ground beside him. One of the kunai had the inscription for the Flying Thunder God technique, but Naruto didn't use it fast enough. By the time he executed the ability, Minato had already knocked the blade aside, transferring Naruto's momentum sideways. Minato remarks that if Naruto wants to get the jump on his opponent, he needs to move faster no matter what. Naruto wants to complain that his dad's the fastest ninja alive. It's unfair, but he keeps it to himself. In a quick flash of imagery, we see Naruto repeating this exact exercise dozens of times until he finally teleports to the kunai before his dad knocks it away. Minato smiles at him and ruffles his hair. "That's my boy." Naruto smiles back at his dad, drenched in sweat. Minato disappears completely and Naruto sags to the ground, his focus shot. Minato reappears sitting beside him and puts one arm around Naruto's shoulders, passing him a popsicle. "You don't have to be the best," Minato chuckles as they both savor their popsicles, "but it sure would put your old man's mind at ease." Naruto smiles softly at the joke, feeling his dad's strong arm around him. He asks his dad if they'll ever see peace. "Oh, I think so," Minato answers quietly, biting the last chunk of his popsicle. "Okay, tell me how many individuals you can sense." And as Naruto closes his eyes to focus on the village, we see a pan over the full village and a slow fade to black in anticipation for what's to come next. We finish part 4. I hope you got a better taste of what I'm going to be doing with all of these characters. I tried to highlight a little bit of how their personalities have formed in my version. There was also a lot of play of how this would cinematically play out if it were an anime episode. I've got a very visual imagination, so it's entertaining for me to write down how these scenes might transition between one another. I can't promise to do that in every video, but it'll definitely be fun to play with from time to time. I understand too how this might be too much of a mouthful if it were an actual manga or anime. I'm writing all of this with the benefit that the audience knows who these characters are already. But it could definitely be too much to expect a new audience to automatically get a feel for the 12 genin and then also their 4 jonin, and then don't forget their families as well. However, because of the benefit of you, the audience, knowing these characters already, I think I can give bigger attention to each individual without too much of a downside. Next time we'll be doing some training exercises for each of the teams and how each of the jonin handle their genin differently. It's only going to get more and more fun to write this out. I really didn't realize how many people would be interested in this in-depth of a rewrite. After the first 5-ish episodes of this rewrite, I'm going to be doing something else for a video just to give some breathing space and let us all take it easy for a little while. You don't see any animation in these videos because Japan is really strict with what they allow with content usage. Instead of risking copyright strikes with footage from some of the episodes, I've opted for screen captures, and so far I've been okay. In fact, in episode 2 of this rewrite, I initially had a 20-second clip of Kakashi and Obito fighting, and my whole video got blocked in like 100 countries. I then replaced it with a 10-second clip of Minato destroying Obito, and muted the clip, and it still got blocked. So I'm just going to steer clear altogether. Anyway, explanations aside, just think of all the possibilities this rewrite could go with. The sky really is the limit.